Hey guys, welcome back to Wanna Be a Barber. In this episode, we're going to be learning how to do a mid fade, so stay tuned. So yeah, kicking it off with the client consultation and the caping. You want to make sure you start off well. Remember, how you start is how you finish. So I already know what this client wants. I've actually cut him before already, so we're just gonna go right ahead into the cut. And as you can see there, I was just brushing anything off that could be in his hair. You always want to make sure you have a clean canvas when you start. And now I just went across with a 2-guard against the grain, and I'm just taking down his hair down to that 2-guard length, which is what he asked for. So yeah, make sure you're very thorough once you're doing that. And we're going to go right ahead and clean our client up. As the video goes on, you're going to be able to see me cleaning my client very often. I do that a lot. So we're going here with our trimmers, and we're going to set in that bald line. As you can see, I'm setting it halfway between the C-cup. It's very important. The positioning of your bald line is going to determine what type of fade or taper that you're doing. So I'm making just sure that I'm clearing out all the bulk from under that line. As soon as you set that line, anything that's under it is gonna go away. So cleaning again. Here we go. I'm going with my foils, taking the stubble down. As you can see here, I'm going down with my foils and going across. You never want to go straight up because that can leave some bumps on the client. So I'm going down with it and across. That's very important. That's a very important technique. So now we're gonna move on a little bit, and we're going to go on with our lever open. So as you can see here, I'm only going a finger guideline. You don't want to go any higher because then you're going to get into problems. So now I'm going to close the lever halfway, and I'm going to go halfway up that guideline. It's very important that you don't overdo it, because if you do, then there's no point in setting in that first guideline. So now what I'm going to do is I'm getting very close to closing the lever. Yep, there we go. We close the lever, and now we're just attacking that bottom line. And the reason why I do it this way is just to soften up that first guideline. Remember that this first guideline without any guards is one of the most hardest to take out. And as a beginner, I remember I used to struggle a lot taking out that bottom line. So that's the step I take. Those are the steps I take to be able to erase that bottom line, which is, in my opinion, probably one of the hardest lines to take out, which is that bald line. So now I'm going in with my 1-guard, and same thing, I'm just going up 1 finger guideline. You don't want to make it any bigger, because then you're gonna have no space left to fade. And I'm just making sure I'm going over it multiple times. Yep, just finger guideline multiple times just to get it down to that bottom length. And now we clean always. Moving on with our half guard, I'm doing lever halfway, and I'm going halfway that 1-guard guideline that we did. I know it's kind of confusing with so many guards, but you're always free to rewind the video, and I try to put the words there so you can see what guard I'm using and at what point of the video that I am using them at. And as you can see here, I'm just gonna close the lever now, and I'm just gonna attack that bottom line. Sometimes it's all about that lever play. Sometimes you really gotta play with the lever down to make sure you get your fade perfect. As you can tell, the head shape is obviously round, so you gotta play with the lever to be able to meet that expectation of that fade. So now we're gonna go with our 1.5 guard, and we're just gonna try and blend into the top. It's very short at the top, so there's not much blending to do, but you still want to take precaution and not miss that step. You always want to blend into the top. And I could tell here that it didn't blend as seamlessly as I wanted to, so I'm going to go with my 1-guard, with 1-guard open, and that's what's going to be able to connect it to the top. And I saw his corners there. They're a bit dark, so I had to make sure, and I dug into them a little bit to be able to fade it seamlessly into the top. And you want to make sure you don't want to skip this step, because it's very important to tie everything in to the top. And that's probably one of the most hardest things to do as a beginner, but you obviously want to do it. We're moving on now to the beard. I'm doing a little bit of the blend work here. It's basically the same steps. I just use a 1-guard, then I do no guard, and then I basically just end up closing my lever. So it's the same steps that you do above, but kind of backwards if you want to think about it that way, because the beard is under and you're kind of fading upwards, if that makes sense. So it's a little different. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to the client's lineup, and this is honestly one of my favorite parts. Here, since the top is so little, is so short, I'm gonna have to do some straight razor work, and that's what's gonna make his lineup pop even more. Now I want you guys to pay attention here. I'm kind of angling it. I'm not going straight on. If you can tell on his vertical bars, you never want to just go straight down. Remember, it's a round head shape, so you want to kind of angle your line a little bit, and that's going to make it stand out even better. So yeah, just going on to the right side now. And as you can see here, once again, just kind of angling his vertical bars a little bit, never straight on. I remember that when I was a beginner, I used to go straight on, and it kind of made the haircut look kind of weird. So now we're going to go ahead and do the lineup on my client's beard. As you can tell, his beard is very dark, so any line that I set on his beard is obviously going to pop. And that's very important to also know what kind of texture, what kind of hair texture that you're cutting. And as I move on to this other side, I kind of want to speak about the line positioning on a person's beard. I know it's very controversial. Many people say there's a right and a wrong way to do it. However, if you were to ask me, the client always has the final say. Every client has a different liking and a different taste, so you always want to ask the client where they want their line set. And I was able to ask my client where he wanted his line set, and I do as they say. You know, they're the ones that are paying for the cut, so you want to give the client what they want. And I kind of try to make it as natural as possible, and you want to let the client know that as well, you know. At the same time, trying to give a little bit of information to the client, and at the same time take into account their opinions. So now I'm going to move on with this mustache, and you want to be very careful here. Any time that you're working around the mouth, the lips, it's very, very detailed and delicate. You don't never want to press down too hard, especially when working in these areas. It's a very delicate place, so be very gentle and clean. Always be sure to clean your client. Moving on now, I'm going to be prepping here for the straight razor, which is probably my other favorite part of a haircut. Shout out to Tomb 45. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but this is probably my favorite shaving gel. It smells so good. You guys should give it a try. So I make sure to use it. I don't like just going in straight to the straight razor without prepping anything. I always make sure I put some Tomb 45, some shaving gel, and we're going to go to work right now. And as I mentioned, be very, very careful in this area, especially when you're working with the blade. It's very easy to nick a client, and you want to be very careful. You don't want to ever cut somebody, especially in this area, because I know I've been cut by somebody before, and it stings. It's very painful. So don't be scared to do it. Just be careful when you do it. And it's something that you kind of got to practice. The more you practice, the better you're going to get. Obviously, sometimes in the beginning, you're going to be scared to do it. But if you never try it, you're never going to get better at it. I'm going to be making another video specifically showing how to use a straight razor. I know it's one of the most important steps, and it's very, very dangerous as well if nobody ever shows you or teaches you how to do it. So I'm going to be making a video especially for that. And I'm going to be showing you guys a real-time cut right here of how I take my time when I do it. You never want to rush this step. It's very crucial that you take your time. Remember, you have a knife to a client's face. You never want to be rushing anything. So be sure to take your time. And let's move it on a little bit, and we're going to speed this up a little bit just so you guys can get the gist of it and see how I'm also cutting the bottom part. I don't tend to do this on every single client because I know some clients could get razor bumps, and not everybody likes this. So you just want to ask your client what they want. So if you guys like this video, be sure to show some love. This is the final cut, and I'm also going to do a final clean. I told you guys I like to keep my clients clean during the whole cut. So this is the end result. If you guys want to see any other cuts, just let me know in the comment section. So yeah, be sure to show some love. Thank you guys for making it this far in the video, and I love you guys. Peace.